What measures need to be enacted related to gun laws in Minnesota?
So I'm an Orange Star candidate. I have offered several bills that deal with and talk about gun regulation to curb gun violence, to provide more protection. I have led a coalition of senators that attempted to do that 3 years ago and received death threats that had to go to the police because of that. I take this so unbelievably seriously in the sense that we have such a responsibility to our people to make sure that my kids don't have to worry about guns at the schools, to make sure that when we walk down the street, that's something we don't have to worry about as a part of our daily norms. It's a culture issue, right? And right now, we've got two groups that are fighting this battle. One group happens to support, they are not the Republican Party, but they definitely seem to line up with them more, that really supports some pretty crazy ideas about how gun freedom and gun rights should go. And there's another group that wants common sense legislation that protects people. And that's what I've been focused on. And as an Orange Star candidate, I proudly wear that badge, that I will continue to do that. And if we take the majority in the Senate next year, I will be an author on several bills that talk about closing loopholes, making sure that we have registration of guns, the whole 9 yards we think are important. And so we understand how we can protect our citizens. Excuse me, when I said registration of guns, I want to go back and say universal background checks. That's what I meant to say, just so we're clear about that. And so I want to see those things, red flag laws that protect people in violent situations. We have so much responsibility to that. And I'm 100% committed, which is why I've been on that movement from the very beginning here in my time in the legislature. Thank you.
Thank you. Ben Schwanke.
You know, I think he hit it right on the head when he said we have a culture problem. And I really think we do, in a sense, past this issue here. You see how partisan things are, how people just aren't treating each other with the humanity that we greatly deserve. And continuing to do that. And so that's where I think we definitely need to make a lot of strides in treating one another with just once again, the humanity, right? Realizing that all of us are human, and we've got to take a deep, hard look at that culture and see what are we doing that this is becoming a bigger problem. Now, having said that, I agree with Senator Isaacson in some ways, and in other ways I do not. But with that, as I agree that first, if we're going to do a plan with this, it needs to make sure that it does not infringe on any constitutional rights, that it is bipartisan, because as he said, we have different groups that seem to not treat each other well, or the people that are going against them in any sort of friendly manner. And so we do need to make sure that we are able to get a coalition of bipartisan support in order to make sure that any law that is enacted is followed through fully with the citizens too. Because it's one thing of getting something passed through the Senate or the House, or a bill becoming law, but it's making sure that Minnesota is okay with it also, and making sure that the citizens are okay with that. And so that's where we need to make sure that we're thoughtful, we're bipartisan, and that it does not infringe on anyone's Second Amendment's right. And just to wrap that one up is also, I'm not exactly in favor of a lot of the red flag laws that we see right now, mainly because of the implementation of them and what we'd be doing to the surrounding communities when the police would go door to door to confiscate guns.
Thank you. Wow. Is there a rebuttal?
I can't not respond to that. I don't know what law he's talking about where police are going door to door to confiscate guns. That's just a inflaming argument there, to be clear. But the important thing is he makes a point that I want to really emphasize, and this idea of the humanity. I'm walking through the Senate halls one day in the office building, and I look up and I see two guys from the Iowa Gun Owners Caucus, two guys bigger than me, and I'm a big man. And these guys had Scott Jensen cornered. And Scott Jensen's a Republican senator who signed onto one of our bills in an attempt to be bipartisan. They had him cornered, and I walked between the two of them. I said, Senator Jensen, could you answer a question about a bill? I'd love to talk with you. Can we walk for a second? And I walked him out of that situation. I didn't have to do that. Scott's on the other side. He causes all kinds of problems, but what I saw there was unacceptable. That was unacceptable behavior. And so this humanity has to extend across the aisle, which is something that I have a history of doing with my friends in the Republican Party. And that's one example of where we need to see that better. But the idea of scaring people about police going door to door to pick up guns, I think that's pretty specious.